Thank you very much, Your Grace, the Most Reverend Dr. Samuel Stephen Kazimba Mugalu, the Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, for inviting me to be able to speak on this very first Archbishop's Leadership Summit, and also for building the partnership between now the church and some of us professionals. We have been used to speak to multilateral agencies, to World Bank meetings, to meetings in various governmental organizations at various levels, but I'm very grateful for the church to realize this strategic partnership that the Archbishop has started to ensure that the leadership can be witnessed also using professionals and also other people. We are also grateful to the Archbishop for the leadership he has been able to demonstrate, particularly during this period of COVID. And I'm personally grateful because the Archbishop was able to visit. Can you imagine the Archbishop being able to visit us at our office? Your Grace, we didn't take it for granted, and we really thank God for the leadership you have been providing for us in this very difficult time of COVID. We also want to thank the church, because for me, as you have been told, we are children who are products of the East African Revival Movement. And without the East African Revival, I don't think that would be anything to talk about. I don't think that we really would have gone to school. I don't think that would be where we are now. So we want to thank the East African Revival Movement, the early church. And for us in Kigezi, I'm going to be very selfish because I'm from Kigezi Diocese, and through this presentation, you are going to have Kigezi Diocese almost having the highest frequency in what we are going to say. Don't think that I'm very, as the President has been saying, that I'm sectarian, but because really we are children of the movement, which started in Gahini, in Rwanda, as you know. It came here with Joy Church at Namirembe, and for us, we benefited from Simeon Sibambi, the father of our Apollo Sibambi, our previous Prime Minister. And for us, I have been telling people that the miracle we circled from our mothers, we are the breast miracle of salvation, and there is no way, therefore, we would have done a mistake. And I've been telling people that if I, Augustus Nuwagaba, am found doing something wrong, it is purely from my own making. It cannot be from our mothers, that because this is what we inherited from them. We want to thank God for this. So I was given, therefore, the topic, and we want to get time, which is fruitful leadership. And before I share on the screen, I'm going to share with you on the screen. I was telling the Archbishop here, and I was in this palace when I was with Archbishop Stanley Ntagari, when Archbishop Nkoyoyo told us to have 5,000 shillings, every family, to contribute. And we did that very, very seriously. Now, when Archbishop Stanley was about to leave office, I was here in this palace. I remember I came here, it was around supper time, it was coming to 9. Because I told Stanley that I have something I want to share with you in this palace. And I told him that among the things, Archbishop Stanley, I don't want you to leave this palace and also this Archbishop's office. So without doing, you fail to do any other thing. But I want you to leave office having left a mark on Kampala skyline, which can command the skyline of Kampala, that the Church of Uganda is also existing. And I was very grateful to God that the Archbishop was able to get the keys, handing over the church house, which to me is a very serious landmark in providing leadership not only in terms of providing resources for the church, but it presents a very good mark for us as Christians that we have a definition and identity within the entire economic framework of Kampala and also Uganda. And this is very, very important, Your Grace, for ensuring that the church can also be known. The church can be known in business. The church can, I can just be passing around Kampala Road and I see Church of Uganda. I can just be a visitor from Washington, from US, and just see Church of Uganda. This is very good leadership that the church is providing. And for me as an economist, I cannot thank the church any more than that. So thank you very much, Your Grace, for the leadership and for the enterprise development that you have been able to provide. So I would now request for your permission, Your Grace, to go to sharing. I will share a few slides so that we can understand fruitful leadership. That's what I've been told to present. And I want, therefore, to greet you in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, and also from my family, from my wife Lillian, who comes from abroad, as you all know, abroad across Lake Bunyonyi. For us, we are from Kigezi Diocese. I've already told you, and my wife comes from abroad, which is across Lake Bunyonyi. And so we prepared this slide together, and it is the grace of God that what I'm going to present, if it is very good, you thank us as the family as we presented it, together with a few consultations I made. But if anything goes wrong, it is from me. You just know that I'm the one who did something very wrong. But otherwise, I want to thank God that by the end of the presentation, the church leadership, Your Grace, would have been able to understand a few tips in the development of what we call fruitful leadership. Can we move, please? So the presentation is by Augustus Nuwagaba, representing the family of Lillian. We have 4 children. God gave us 3 boys and 1 princess, who is the last born. And the house really became a very wonderful house after we had her. Let's continue. The introduction is I'm going to make you understand the meaning of stewardship. I will move very briefly to principles of stewardship, the role of the steward, and then I will end with our calling as leaders. Now, a steward, Your Grace, is a manager. Is a manager, is a keeper, is a custodian. The word manager means looking after possessions of another person or another entity. It is therefore important to differentiate between ownership and rights. Ownership of a possession means you have rights of ownership of that possession, and you can own that property in what you call perpetuity. It is yours. But a steward does not have rights of ownership. He's looking after a property on behalf of another person, and therefore he doesn't have, or she doesn't have, rights of ownership. Let's move. The central, therefore, essence of the biblical view of stewardship is that everything on earth was created and designed by God. This you find in Psalms, you find it in Haggai chapter 2 verse 8, where God is saying, I'm the owner of all gold, I'm the owner of all silver, I'm the owner of all forests. Psalms. And that means therefore that man was given dominion, as we all know. This is found in Genesis chapter 1 verse 28, of everything that God had created. Now, with this interpretation, therefore, it means that stewardship can therefore be understood as utilizing and managing resources God provides purposely for 2 reasons. 1, for the glory of God. Then 2, for the betterment of the people that are going to benefit from these resources. Now, I want very quickly to move in this presentation so that people can understand the conceptual framework in which we are going to understand these matters. I want you very briefly to know that in order to be a very good steward, you need to have faith. You need to know and believe in the person under whom you are serving. The person whom you are managing resources. Remember, the resources are not yours as a manager, as a custodian. And then, two, we need to know that you are going to work. You're going to work. Because the manager is going to come and dismiss you and put somebody else who can really work and look after his resources, look after his farm, look after his people, look after his company very well if you cannot manage. So you must know principles of work. Two, under that one, you must know what are you going to engage in. What are you going to engage in order for the manager to be able to find you as a very good person who can look after the property. And then as a good manager, we must know a little bit of economics, at least elementary economics. And here, you are going to ask a few questions. How, Your Grace, have you assembled factors of production? Under factors of production, we have a human being is the first factor of production. Then we have land. Then we have what we call capital. And then you have what most of you call entrepreneurship, the knowing of how to put things together in business. Now, Your Grace, I was here when you were being consecrated. I was in Namirembe Cathedral. And your charge was saying conversion of the heart, conversion of the mind, and then conversion of the hands. This is where it comes handy. Now, the intersection between economics, faith, and work is where stewardship comes in. That very intersection of those three. That circle, if you are looking at that circle, where economics, the assembling of factors of production, the faith which you have in the person whom you are the manager, and how you are working and engaging in that work and the methods of work you are using is what constitutes fruitful stewardship. And I think even if I finish there, you would have already got the point. Now, other things are going just to be elaborating, and I'm going to do that in very, very few minutes. And I told you that since I come from Kigezi Diocese, and a little bit now of Mityana Diocese, and now Kampala Diocese, and then other 37 dioceses, because I'm sure I have been a consultant for the National Development Plan, and the United Nations, Your Grace, during COVID, requested me to move in Europe. I was in Europe, I was in London, I was in Sweden, in Dubai, in the US, and the United Nations had requested me to look into our brothers and sisters who are Ugandans and are abroad. And they are investing in Uganda. So UNDP requested me to go and see where are these Ugandans? What are they doing? Why can't they come to Uganda here? In America, we have over 40,000 engineers and doctors, professionals. In the UK, in Sweden, and you cannot imagine how many people we have out there whom we can come and engage, and they do work and believe in them. But the question now, Your Grace, is, do these people believe in you? Do they, you meaning Uganda now, as leaders, because you are one of the biggest leaders in the country? Do they believe in you that they can come and work here? I conducted a meeting in Leeds town. I was in Manchester. I was even at, I know Your Grace, for you are Arsenal, at Emirates Stadium. I was at Old Trafford Stadium. And after my meeting, I said, that's also good because I support Manchester United. I know you support Arsenal. So I said, after the meeting in Manchester City and Leeds, I asked these Ugandans, why you people can't you come and we really build this country? Because we need you. But they said, Professor, can we trust you? Can we trust the leadership? Can we come and work? Can we bring our money and our money can be here and it does what we want to do, or the money will just be stolen? Can we trust our brothers who are there and they can do some little business for us? And the answer was, we have bad news for you as Ugandans. These people are not trusting us. And so we have very little that we are gaining from them. Currently, we are getting about $1.7 billion, which is about 5.6% of our GDP. Our total GDP in the country is about $30 billion. And they are bringing in about $1.7 billion. And I've been telling government here that if we lose this money, $1.7 billion from these Ugandans who are abroad, because they are not trusting us, we normally don't have very good behavior when they give us to do something for them. This is a very serious loss. And I said, can we change our behavior so that when somebody gives you money to do something for you, you can be a very good steward. You can be a very good manager to look after this. So we agreed, therefore, that when I reach Kampala, I wrote a report to UNDP, of course, where are my clients, but I said I'm going to share this report. And this is something that we can use, Your Grace. There's a lot of resources out there for human beings, money, and other technical know-how that we can tap to be able to use these resources. Let's continue. Now, I'm going to talk about 4 principles and then finish. The first principle of stewardship, the principle of ownership. You do not need to own a resource, Your Grace, in order to use it. And I want to tell all our leaders in these 37 dioceses, you do not even need to own land in order to use it. You know that Paul Ngorogoza, who is our great leader of Kigezi, was able to link with the Queen of England around 1942 there. And we were able to shift most of the Bachiga who were, because in Kabale, we are very, very overpopulated. And that's how we came to go in areas of Chibale, Toro, and other areas. This was very serious leadership. So we reached there, and most of the Bachiga are there working, but nobody owns land there. We all know it. But they have been able to use that land. All the Uganda prisons, all Uganda institutions, universities, and schools, most of them Church of Uganda schools, the portion we eat in these schools, beans and maize, come from these areas. It just comes from Kasese, Chibale, and it is mainly these people who migrated there, together with the people in Kasese and Fort Portal, who are producing this food. But they don't own this land. So you don't need, therefore, to own a resource in order to use it. Now, the reason why we have poverty is because of basically that point. So what do we learn from there? Let's move quickly. Is that therefore stewardship requires holistic growth of the church and understanding that people in areas of gifting need to generate maximum output wherever they are, whether you own that property or not. Your Grace, you are aware that you are a president of 13 million people. President Museveni is the president of 42 million people. Your Grace, you are the president of 13 million people out of those, which is a third. A recognition that the church, therefore, must grow larger. Let me explain this properly. Through evangelism, this is what Rick Warren says, if you have read this book, Purposeful Living. The church also can grow warmer through fellowship. And that's why we have fellowship. Your Grace, I want to report to you that we started one of the largest fellowships here in Kampala, which is called the Marriage Fellowship. Even the one you see in Oro Saints. We are the ones who started it in Oro Saints with Uncle Ben Mugarura. We started it in 1997. And this fellowship has changed homes. Completely, we have transformed homes through providing warm fellowships. But what pillar holds the church, Your Grace, apart from widening evangelism and warm fellowship, is really the strength of the church. How the church can be strong. And this is through making sure that the church can be stronger through enhanced enterprise development and improving the lives of the people whom you are leading. And I want to refer to already our bishop from Lango, who provided the devotion, told you that Bishop Festo Chivenjere, who is our great leader and Bishop of Kigezi, I want to refer you to the other conceptual framework. And Bishop Chivenjere, when he was starting African Evangelistic Enterprise with Michael Cassidy from South Africa, Bishop Festo was fought. People fought him a lot. Why are you starting African Evangelistic Enterprise? The door of the church is evangelism. And you know that money is the beginning of sin. You cannot have money and mix it with church business. Bishop Festo, and I want to quote exactly the words he said, and for us who are lucky to live among people in Kigezi, especially with Bishop Festo, I think we need really to thank God. We need to thank God for that. Because for us, when you tell us salvation, and the person who moves in the light, for us, we know what it means. Especially from Bishop Festo explained it that an empty stomach has no ears. That's how Bishop explained it so well. I think by this time, for us at Makerere, we would have already given him professorship. Meaning that the word of God, evangelism, warm fellowship, is like the other sower. You throw seeds on the rock. Some of them fell in the thorns, but you remember there were seeds which fell in the fertile ground. And this is the seed which you all know that sprouted in the crop. And Bishop Festo is simply telling you that people need livelihood. You need also to look at the spiritual needs of the people, but also at the basic needs of this, especially survival of the people. This is where now economics comes in with the work to link with the faith to create now holistic development of what a human being is supposed to be. Now, principle number two is responsibility. And this, Your Grace, means shaping, nurturing material and both spiritual and material resources. And I want to refer to Your Grace. His Grace's charge is on conversion of the heart, conversion of the mind, conversion of the heart. For us now, Your Grace, in the universities, it is cognitive education, psychomotor education, affective education. Your Grace, of all the three things, because when I left Namirembe on your consecration, I started doing research. Now, on that bishop's charge, and I think I've shared this with you, Your Grace, conversion of the hand, conversion of the heart, conversion of the hands. What is for us, Your Grace, in research, we have what we call regression analysis. Now, when we get data, when we get things, what we do with them is that we normally want to know what contributes the greatest proportion of A, B, and C to cause D. Now, among A, B, C, which cause D? Is it A which causes the highest? Is it B or it is C? Now, when I left Namirembe, I regressed conversion of the hand, conversion of the mind, and then conversion of the hands. And I want to bring good news to you, Your Grace, that also when I was in looking at the diaspora people in London, in Dubai, in US, in Sweden, I was able to know that the only thing that we are failing as Ugandans, as Christians in the church, is really the conversion, Your Grace, of the heart, which for us in Makerere and other universities, we call affective education. Because psychomotor education is the one we are talking about, Your Grace, as a conversion of the hand. Doing. Then conversion of the mind is for us cognitive education, which is information. For me as an economist, you know that if bread is 5,000 shillings, many people will come and buy bread. But if you put now a loaf of bread at 10,000 shillings, a few people will come. That's what we teach in the universities. For us, we go deeper and call it indifference curve. If you put the bread from 5,000 to 10,000, the indifference curve will move down. Our indifference curve normally moves it's a curve. Why does it move down? Because now many people cannot afford. And every economist knows this. But how does that help you? This is just information. And it's very sad that most of our universities, most of our education, most of our primary schools, secondary schools, universities, we tend to stop at cognitive education. Conversion, but Your Grace, we do a little bit of conversion of the mind. Then we got faculty of technology, medicine, teaching. Most of us are teachers. Then that is doing. Psychomotor education, the doing. Where we are lacking, Your Grace, even us in the university, in the primary schools, in secondary schools. I was chairman of the board of Kigezi Diocese. I want to thank my leadership in the church in Kigezi. Most of what we are lacking, what is killing Uganda now, what is killing our schools, what is killing our society. My mother, ni mwarawa bachimbiri. Let me say it in Ruchiga. Araruga Nyachenyi. She comes from Nyachenyi near they are neighbors of Professor Kagonyera, where they come from. No, my mother told me. I want everybody to hear this. It is hearts which fail to fit in a room like this. But supposing there is war, Your Grace, we can fit here 1 million people in this very room. That's what my mother told me. Emitima niyeshagaga munju. This is a very serious proverb of what my mother told me. But if you have good hearts, a loving heart, as our keynote speaker said, you will fit. This country, Uganda, I don't think that is really big for, it has become smaller for us. It is a very big country. 24,000 square miles. It's quite a large country. It can hold land UK, holds 64 million people. And we have the same land, square miles. It's exactly the same land as UK. England, England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. If you get Northern Ireland plus Wales plus UK, the England, and Scotland, that land mass is equal to Uganda also. But they have 64 million people. For us, we are about 39, 40 million people. Which is about, we are just slightly more than half. But you are behaving as if we are failing to fit here. This country can be even 100 million people, but our hearts, conversion of the heart which is missing is becoming a problem. And Your Grace, as if we cannot fit here. Especially with technology, especially with the work, especially with knowing what to do, assembling factors of production. I was moving a little bit in these countries. When you go to Malaysia, Your Grace, these countries don't have anything. But what they have done is human beings. And harnessing human beings to love, especially to love each other. I will show you when I'm finishing here, I will show you a country called Finland. A country called Finland. For them, they even have appointed, they have a wonderful lady. Their president is 34 years. He's a wonderful girl for 34 years. And I will show you even her picture here before I finish. He's not old, he's not young, he's there. But this is one of the best countries in the world, especially in happiness. They even have appointed a minister for happiness. They have a minister for happiness. How I wish here we had a minister for creating love among people in Uganda and in the church. So what do we learn from this? Let's go to the slide. What do we learn from this principle? The key learning points here is that stewardship requires Your Grace, galvanizing the mind, heart, and hands, moving a path of known destination. That we are all Ugandans. That we are all Ugandans. But when you moved, you say you are a Muchiga, I'm a Mutoro, I was in Karamoja the other day. I was in Kotido, and you need to see how the Karamajongo are dancing for us. I'm from Kisoro, I'm a Mufumbira, I'm a Muganda. This is what we love. This diversity is what enriches our culture, is what enriches our... We have kutendereza. The way we have kutendereza too. Kutendereza, yes. So that word and tone, do you know it is sung in Karamoja, it is sung in Mbale, it is sung in Kigezi, it is sung in Bulisa, it is sung in Jie, in Labgor, Why do we do that and everybody is able to sing that? Why don't we sing that wherever we are? By loving each other and making sure that these are brothers and sisters. For us who are in the area of business, finance, economics, you know that when you have business, when somebody is coming to buy your commodities in business, Your Grace, for us we don't mind. whether he's a Mutoro, whether he's a Muchiga, whether he's a Mulango, whether he's an Alu, whether he's a Karamajong. For us, what we want is money. Who the person has in his, and then that day you said you are. I thought people in our church would really understand this. We don't mind. Do you ask whether somebody is a Muchiga or Mutoro or an Acholi one is coming to buy your commodities? What matters is what Governor Mutebire has written in these papers you call money. When you get out your money out of in your pocket and look at it, Governor Mutebere has written on that paper which you are calling money, that paper you are calling money, it is not money. The reason you are calling it money, because Governor Mutebere has written on it a small word. That word is called legal tender. That word legal tender in legal economics, it means that I, as Governor Mutebere, Governor Bank of Uganda, has authorized you to present it to whoever you present, and that person will give you that thing which you want that is equivalent to that paper you are holding. And if that person refuses, take him to court. That's what it means. Take him to court. And so let me, ladies and gentlemen, when you are going there, the shopkeeper will ask you whether you are Muchiga, whether you are Muganda, you are Grace. I love, out of the tribes that we have, let me explain this in Uganda. My friends of Uganda, the ones who put it best than anybody else. And effective education. The Baganda is the one, your Grace, you call Ubuntu Bulamu. Omusaja Omukakamu. I wish we really have Ubuntu Bulamu, Omusaja Omukakamu. No Mukazi Omukakamu. And this is what the world requires. Principle number 3, I'm about to finish. Principle number 3, Your Grace, because I have just 4. Principle number 3, quickly, is the principle of accountability. Can you be accountable? Can the leaders in your diocese trust you? Can a secretary of a diocese be trusted and you are accountable to the resources you have, to the money you are keeping, and to the investments we are making? This is what we want to see. And now for us as Christians, what do we want? What do we want from our leaders? Is accountability. For us, we are rights holders. For you are duty bearers. And what we want is that the things you have been given have rules. Have you followed those rules to use these things that you have been given, and you are accountable? This is what accountable leadership is. Remember when the master came, who gave these people talents? He gave one. Second, 2. Third, 5. You remember, some of us in these 37 dioceses who may not know, I will explain this. 1 talent, Your Grace, was equal, in their currency at that time, was equal to 1 denarii. A denarii was equal to a day's wage. Like a day's wage here is about 30,000. When we are building, you paid a mason about 30,000. Now, in the World Bank, and in Washington and in New York, the way we measure, if we say Uganda's GDP is 30 billion. If we say Uganda's GDP is 30 billion. We mean obugaga bwa Uganda. How much is Uganda rich? How rich is Uganda? Now, in the way we measure the richness of countries, we usually use gold. Because there is no way, if Uganda now in 1 denarii, which is equal to 30,000 shillings you pay for a day's wage. In another country, in the UK, it is different. In Japan, it is different. So we had to find a way in which we can be able to measure this thing properly, and then we use it. So that's how we use it. A dollar came. But initially it was gold. So 1 denarii, if this talent which this master gave these people, 1, 2, and 5, was equal to 1 day's wage. But in gold, was equal to 33 kilograms of gold. Now 1 gram of gold now in Washington is about $38. So now can you imagine it was 33 kilograms? Just 1 person who got that talent. So each person in current currency got $1.4 million. Some of you who maybe think that this talent was 1 shilling. Each person was got $1.4 million. The one who got 2 got $2.8 million. The one who got 5 got $7 million. Can you imagine what the other person did? He hid $1.4 million. He did. The second one invested it, $2.8 million. And again, the other one of 5 also invested $7 million. The one of 7 multiplied, it became 14. The one of $2.8 million, the 2 talents made 4, which was now $5.6 million. The other one, he didn't trust. Did you see? I started with faith. He didn't believe. Remember the other conceptual framework? The other 3 circles I drew. He did not believe in his or her master. And therefore he hid it, and then the person came. Now, when he came, the other people who got 2 got 4, 5 got 10. Do you know, Your Grace, what they did? They presented what they had got. I wish we people who are managers really present correct books of accounts in the way they are. In Uganda, Your Grace, I want to report to you that we are training. I've been training people in Makerere for the last 26 years. And what we are doing, you all know, is training people who are accountants, but instead of knowing how to present what they have done in these companies, they just want to know very much, as if in Makerere we have been training them how to steal. As if in medicine we are training them how to steal drugs. I was requested, Your Grace, recently by National Medical Stores. I've been a consultant for National Medical Stores. And National Medical Stores requested me, Professor, can you look for us a model which we can be able to get drugs from London and India. If they reach here in Entebbe, the drugs can reach Bunagana Health Center 3 in Kisoro. And also GA Health Center 3 in Karamoja. These drugs are not, the National Medical Stores takes drugs. There's no drug which gets lost along the way. I want to congratulate the National Medical Stores. But when we go to these health centers, we don't get the drugs. Where have drugs gone? So I have advised, therefore, National Medical Stores. You listen to what I've advised them, and they have accepted already. That now, instead of getting your drugs, and put them when they bring drugs, they reach at the district. Then when they reach the district now takes care of these drugs now with the other lower health centers. National Medical Stores work stops at the districts. I've said now, you don't have stewards from the district, these health centers. What you are going to do is get your own stewards, give them your uniform, and make sure these drugs can reach Bunagana Health Center 3, and Ndabgor, and Gia, and Bulisa, and all other areas. That's what they have done. Can you imagine how expensive it is going to be, you Ugandans? The money which they would have used to buy more drugs for you is the same money they are going now to hire more people so that you do not steal them. Can you imagine such a paradox and the irony and contradiction? You are the ones losing. You are the ones losing. So we need to work on our hearts. When you work on your heart, we shall, as Uganda, we shall get more money. People will steal less money. And then the other money which would have gone to hospitals, gone to schools, goes to local government, goes to education, goes to universities. Don't ask why you don't have these things, because your hearts have failed to work with us who want to deliver these things. I've also been, Your Grace, the national consultant for the National Development Plan. If your National Development Plan is not working, we are partly responsible. But you know very well I'm not in the government. But when they do things, I'm the one who looks at them, how they have done them very well. What has happened is that the government plan is very, very well. I want to report to you, Your Grace, that everybody comes here in Uganda to see what we have done and how we do it very well, and how we plan it very, very well. But can you imagine when they go to their countries, and I want to report to you here, again, this is bad news. They go and do exactly the same things the way they found us doing, in the frameworks, in the plans, in the policy, but now when they go there as work, and then for us, we continue limping. I'm going to demonstrate it. I'm going to demonstrate it in a play. We have a man with a very big head. The big head are resting on very lean shoulders of this man. Very big head. The head is resting on very lean shoulders, and the shoulders are on these two sticks, which you call legs, which are just limping. So you find the person just moving. These are very good policies. Uganda, we have the best brains. We have the best people who have learned. Your Grace, we are not lacking educated people. Our keynote speaker was saying, Martin Luther Jr., whom he was talking about, that was leading the American freedom fighter movement, said this: the most dangerous object we are facing in the world right now, we are facing in Uganda right now, we are facing in our church right now, is not a drone, is not a leopard, lions, these are not lions, they are not big snakes. If it was President Museveni, the most dangerous object is facing right now, is not the aeroplanes they call drones. For you have been seeing this drone which they use in weddings. But that drone uses a word which is the real drone. A drone is an aeroplane and nobody pilots it. It doesn't have a driver. It moves by itself. It will drop a bomb, and even if you hit yourself in a toilet, it will kill you there without anybody. It will make corners. That plane is the one which killed Gaddafi, which looked for him and showed him that he's around there. That's not the one we are fearing. That's not the one the government of Uganda is fearing. That's not the one we are fearing. The church is not fearing that somebody is going to come and attack us. The church is not fearing that even people are getting out of the church. What are you fearing? What we are fearing, according to Martin Luther Jr., is not a drone, is not a python, is not a big lion. It is a human being. Can you imagine that, who has no character? Let me repeat it. It's a human being who has lost the heart, who has lost love, who has lost accountability, who has lost the reason why he's put in that position, who is just there and is living by word of mouth. And it doesn't look beyond his or her nose. This is the greatest bad news that we have in the church right now and in Uganda. Because now, Your Grace, when we say we have a problem in Uganda, we have 13 million Christians. This I've already told you. Why 13 million, when I said we have not 13 million Christians, we have 13 million Protestants, people of the Church of Uganda. We also have about 13 million or so. I think we have only a difference of 0.4. Roman Catholic brothers. Okay, those who know mathematics add 13.4 plus 13.8, 26.8. So 26.4 million around there. I think they're almost 26.8 there. Every day our mothers are very good at producing children. Now, these are Your Grace. These are Augustus. These are John. These are Jennifer's. These are Ruth. Senyonyi, they have been baptized, we have confirmed. What is happening? Is it happening because we are being attacked by other people coming to Uganda? We are the same people. But what difference has been created, Your Grace, is that the hearts have failed to do and to translate into what they are supposed to do. That's the way the problem is. They are not lacking education. They are not lacking to know what to do, because this one you can just copy, but they are lacking what they are supposed to be doing. Let's finish. That's the last one. Principle number 4, which is the last one. The key learning point there. Let's go to the key learning point. Just key learning point from accountability is that a manager must be rewarded in accordance to output. However, stewardship will require a common good. And this is what is lacking in Uganda right now. I wish our church really understood the common good. Because when you understand the common good as 26.4 million Christians, other people will also see us and copy. This is because the manager also achieves this through many other people, because it's not leading alone. This is what Nyerere also said. You cannot have democracy if you don't have Democrats. You cannot have Christians. You cannot have Christian movements when you don't have Christians. You cannot have very good people when there is no salvation. For us, why Kigezi? Let me be selfish here. Let me be selfish. Yeah, Professor Nuwagaba, Professor Kagonyera, Professor Charles Kwesig, Professor Kwesig, Professor so, Professor Governor Mutebe, Professor this one, and these people are in these positions. Professor Ezra Suruma, our current Chancellor Makerere University. Why do you have these people? Johnny Bikangaga, Canon Johnny Bikangaga, who was heading the public service here, the best public service Uganda has ever had. Am I being sectarian, Your Grace? Am I being sectarian? Where is the Canon Johnny Bikangaga right now? Can we get him so that he runs public service the way public service should run? I'm not being sectarian at all. Me, it is the Canon Johnny Bikangaga whom I know that he was chairman of public service. I was in Toronto, in Canada, at the house of a friend of mine, Munini Mulera. I had something very serious on the river. I had gone for operation. I was operated in South Lake Hospital in Toronto. Arthur came to visit us, Arthur Bikangaga, one of the best doctors in the world. He's currently helping us at Kabale University. The father was chairman of Public Service Commission. They did interview and failed. They didn't get jobs. I want to tell Ugandans that these things can be done. You can have a chairman of Public Service Commission and his children or his family, his relatives, fail the interview. Fail that interview. For us in Kigezi, it has happened. With the Canon Johnny Bikangaga. He came here, he was the chairman appointments board in Makerere University, I think chairman also of council. And there is nobody who can kill him that Nikigezi got a job in Makerere because there was a Canon Johnny Bikangaga. It didn't. Now, where are these people and where have they gone? This is what we should learn. And then in Uganda here we have the Chigozis, we have the Canon Chigozis, we have had various other leaders. This is the people of the East African Revival Movement. And this is what we are lacking now. We need, if I don't have time, which I'm likely not to be having now, I'm finishing, is that we need, Your Grace, a second revival movement. It started in Gahini with people like Nkundie. It came here with the Joy Church in Namirembe. It came in Kigezi. And then it went a little bit of Arua. And I've been saying that my parish is called Chijuguta Parish of Kigezi Diocese. And this parish is a little bit different. Actually, we are working on it to make sure that it is a model parish. To have good education, to have good people, to be able that we can be seen and viewed, and we provide leadership wherever we are, so that we represent our areas very well, and then other people can copy. We are not looking at money. Money can look after us after. You know, when you have become and I've been telling people that people have been telling me there's a very high corruption in Uganda, and also you need to be corrupt. I said they don't need to be corrupt. For me, what I'm using, Your Grace, in case I don't have time, I'm currently using what we call blue ocean strategy. And I'm going to, Your Grace, to elaborate more a little bit when we are few. How a blue ocean strategy works, which I want you to use, and this province of the Church of Uganda becomes a model province, is that it works beyond competition. Those who are in witchcraft, it works beyond witchcraft. It works beyond magic. And how does it work? Is that you create capacity for yourself. You become a very good person. You love people. You provide leadership. You also have capacity. You have created your capacity to make sure that when you do something, you do it very well. You create identity in doing that thing. When I'm coming from wherever I'm coming from, I reach at Entebbe Airport. I'm Professor Augustus Nuwagaba. It is most likely that you will somehow know Professor Augustus Nuwagaba. I've tried to create my identity. I cannot finish speaking without telling you where I come from. I come from Kigezi. This is where East African Revival started. Therefore, you think you can confuse me with anybody else? You cannot confuse me with anybody else. In Ruchigaro Nyankole, we are in Chungwe. Your Grace in Chungwe is when you make bushera and then keep it. Our mother used to keep it in a small calabash. And when you make other bushera, you use now the other one, you put little to make sure that it can sweeten the other one now. We are in Chungwe. So I don't want you to confuse me with you. Don't confuse me with you. We have been learning bad manners from some of you. But for us, let me repeat it. if we do anything wrong, I want to congratulate at this stage our mothers. I want to congratulate our leadership in Kigezi, and also the leadership Your Grace we have found in the Church of Uganda, because I have interacted with His Grace, and I can assure you that His Grace is ready to provide, as a researcher, for the little time I've interacted with His Grace, it has, you have all you have all the characteristics of Nehemiah, Prophet Nehemiah. He knows how to make strategic leadership. He knows how to look for his people. He came and visited us. Us as who? You came to visit us, Your Grace, as who? I'm not a minister. You are not the prime minister. I'm not the what? I'm just the Nuwagaba. And all of a sudden, on the doorstep, I said, His Grace is coming to visit me from where? This is leadership from first principles. It doesn't discriminate. It doesn't look at your position. And then this is what we are looking for. So that's what I tell people. That for us, we don't have much to say, but we want to be proud of our parentage, our legacy from Kigezi, especially Kigezi Diocese. For us, we have our cathedral, Rugarama. And I cannot finish speaking on this podium without talking about our cathedral, Rugarama. So some of us say I got saved on the 15th of April, 1985. And I was head prefect of a school. Your Grace, can you imagine how it is difficult to get saved when you are a leader, a head prefect of a school of Kigezi High School? And I got saved from Scripture Union with Warren Nyamagasira. I think it is Warren who had come in this Scripture Union. I hope it is still there. It normally starts at Gayaza High School. So we got saved from there. But I can assure you, Your Grace, that was just symbolic. As they are baptizing us, they give us a sign of the cross that from now you are going to witness for the Lord and you will not get ashamed. But I can assure you that on 15th of April 1985, as a leader of Kigezi High School, as a president, I was the president of Kigezi High School, that was just symbolic. For us, Your Grace, we had been saved already by the breast milk of our mothers from East African revival, which were moving, but because the Bible says, if you say with your mouth that Jesus is Lord, and you witness, I will come and you will get saved. So you cannot get saved and change because you have been there, and because you used your mother, it is your mother who did. No way it cannot be. It is you who must symbolically come and witness, and I want to thank God that we were able to do that. And if you look at me, just look at me. What do you want me to regret? Do you think I'm regretting really? What are you going to tell me that because of very high corruption in Uganda, I will bid, I'm a consultant, and we shall not win because everybody is bribing, and also we have to bribe? Use blue ocean strategy. Do your thing well. Have capacity to do it very well. Do it better than anybody else. Everybody should know what Professor Nuwagaba can do and how he can do it and how he can account for it. They will give you work, you people, and corruption will be stopped. It is called blue ocean strategy. Do what you are supposed to do. Do it very well, with all your heart, with all your zeal, with all your intellect. And some of us have also increased your capacity also as a leader. Increase the capacity of the people you are leading. So that now you can also compete now above the waters. And this will help you. So that now with the other corruption, people will say, but you are going to bribe. You are going to bribe. Do you think the people who is going to bribe will do this work? And the answer is no. You will be given the work, you will fail to do it, and you will bring it to me. That's what blue ocean means. It is beyond witchcraft. Those who like to go to Savos. How are you going to get us because of witchcraft? You get us because of witchcraft. How? Because of magic. We are operating beyond competition. That's what I wish for this Church of Uganda. That's what I wish for our Archbishop, Dr. Samuel Stephen Kazimba Mugalu. Just you work beyond competition. You are not competing with anybody, but you do your work. You are leading us in the way you are supposed to lead us, challenging us the way you are challenging us, and this great leadership you are providing. Other people are going to come and copy what you are doing. And also that's what we want. Now, final, I think, let's do the final one. And then we sit and move. We don't want to get time. Is that I will give you a few, that's what principle number 4. Let me give you a few examples, and then we sit. I want to give you examples, Your Grace. United States of America, which you all know, is the best country in the world, the greatest country in the world. But it is not the richest. If I had the time, I would present to you figures that United States is not even among the 10 rich countries that we know. That prize goes to, and I'm going to mention these countries. It goes to Norway, it goes to Denmark, it goes to Finland. You have seen our girl whom I told you. It's a very wonderful leader. And why does it go to those countries you have grace that prize? Is because these countries work on equal access to opportunities. These countries are happy countries. They use an economic principle, because for us we're using this principle of very high level of capitalism. We kill each other in business. We want to be the ones to be known, and we bribe and beat everybody, and give, it is a cutthroat competition. But these people use the principle, in economics we call economic solidarity. If you are eating a piece of maize, I should also eat a part of it. If your child is in school, another child must also be in school. If you are getting medicine, you also have, Your Grace, because of lack of time, I was in Ethiopia. We had a meeting of ECA, Economic Commission for Africa. Then at break time, we had a girl from Denmark called Anna, from Denmark. She developed Senyiga, sneezing. All of a sudden, she was picked by an ambulance aircraft from Copenhagen. Then we started asking her, you must be a daughter of the president, or at least the prime minister. She told us she was the daughter of a peasant from Kisoro, the Kisoro of Denmark. Now, if you're a person, you are grace from that country, can you fail to pay tax of that country? Because you know the tax will be used. These are the countries of economic solidarity, countries where everybody is moving along with each other. And can you feel to love your government? Can you feel to love your people? Can you sometimes when this love your grace is evaporating, it's because sometimes you look at leadership and you ask its relevance. How relevant is it to you? And you don't see the relevance. And the moment people don't see the relevance, it will vanish. The leadership will just move. I will end with one graph, which I want to show you, for Uganda, using the same picture. This is why we were having these demonstrations. The reason why you have these demonstrations on the Kampala roads is precisely this. And this is the red flag. Let's continue. Do you see what is happening? You see that boy who is on a bicycle? Just look at him and this girl here. Now, this house is in Kampala. It is a house in Kampala. These are normal houses now we have in Kampala. But also, these you look at the house of other people who are your neighbors. Now, the Nigerians, I have many friends in Nigeria. One is Professor Onibokun at the Poju. He lives in Ibadan. There's a time I reached Lagos, and by the time I reached Ibadan, they even asked me, I reached Ibadan about 8:30. Then they said, Professor, where are you coming from? From Lagos to Ibadan at 8:30? Said, for me, it was used to the peace we have in Kampala. And I thought every country was the same. Said, we wanted it to be killed here. Because everybody would have, people would have just waylaid you on the way. Said, we're laying him on the way. This is the problem now we have. Some people are rich, and others are living on the wrong road now. And can you imagine these people living in the same town in Kampala? How can you have this and expect peace? You are grace, you cannot have this and expect peace. Now bring the other graph and we finish. I don't want to. There is a graph I want, the other graph. Yeah, that one there. Your grace, why you have these problems, what you are seeing on Kampala Street, is this one is basically for, I want to also saying for leaders, both in the church and also in the government. Since I have this opportunity, I want to explain what is happening on Kampala roads using econometrics, mixing economics and mathematics and also statistics. For you are just seeing people on the road burning tires and so on. This is precisely the explanation. Your Grace, it is very simple to explain. The highest 10% of the people in Uganda, about the other 42 people, share about 35.8% of the other GDP I talked about, of the about 32 billion now. Kwegamba bugaga bwa Uganda, the people who can claim to be benefiting from it is 10%. Now that 10%, Your Grace, is growing. That's not a very big problem. That's not a very big problem. But it's growing at 19%, and it is positive. You see, the curve is increasing. Now, the lowest 10% of the other population of 42 million, which is 4.2 million people, is only sharing 2.5% of the wealth of Uganda. It is growing, Your Grace. At 21, it is negative 0.1%. Tell me, and this is now for our leadership, both Your Grace, because you can get a phone and call His Excellency the President. I'm just finishing, and then discuss with him and explain to him. It is not going to be possible to have people, they don't have what to eat, and for you are living in that house, which I've shown you, of about 6.2 billion, the other person doesn't have what to eat. I was in Canada the other day, and when you have a house in Canada, for them, they don't have this burglar proof. And I was telling him, how can you build the house? Like in a stadium, it doesn't have a fence, it doesn't have the windows, no burglar proof in the window. He said, we have burglar proof for what? Who is going to steal anything from here? Because what he wanted to steal, everybody has it. Everybody has it. You move from Toronto to Ottawa, to all these towns, to Edmonton. Everybody has what it is. How I wish that Uganda is built on knowing that the other people's lives also matter. That leadership is built. When you enter our University of London, I come from London School of Economics, the one I'm ending with. When you enter our University of London, I'm a graduate of Makerere here, London School of Economics. And the London School of Economics is the part of University of London, the first university in the world. You will see a poster of Charles Darwin, is the one I'm finishing with. And it says, it is not the most intelligent that are going to survive. It is not the most powerful that are going to survive. The person Your Grace is going to survive is the person willing to change. Willing to change. Now, when you come to our London School of Economics, the way Makerere we build for the future. For us at the London School of Economics, we say, rerum cognoscere causas, which means, what can I do to understand the causes of things? Why A, B, C is causing D. How much of A and B and C is one that is explaining D? What is explaining what is happening right now is nothing other than the lack of knowing that another Ugandan also matter. The love of a Muchiga to a Mutoro, to an Acholi, to a Karamajong, to an Alul, to a Mufumbira is what we are lacking. And I'm going to end with this, that it is not going to be possible. Your Grace, conversion of the hand, psychomotor education, we have done it. Conversion of the head, cognitive education. These Ugandans have a lot of information. What we are failing, Your Grace. The one which is we can check coefficients. The largest coefficient, I can give it here at 0.92, is lack of love of each other. Then the 0.8 is the one which is information and doing. 0.8 plus 0.92 is going to make 100%. 100 over 100, conversion of the head, conversion of the heart, conversion of the mind. If we do 92% of the conversion of the heart and the love, we shall have the Uganda which we all want. And I want to thank you very much, Your Grace, for inviting me. And I want to thank the church and that we can move together in this crusade. Thank you very much. Thank you.